Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi Vision presents Fandom Access. We're joined by special guest Elizabeth Moy from who is going to talk to us today. We will keep it spoiler-free from season 3. As long as you've seen the trailer, we'll make sure nobody gets spoiled and everybody's good to go. But if you have a question for Elizabeth, you can either put it in the chat where you're watching this at, or you can put it on one of the social media channels. And as long as I see the notification, I will ask it. All right. Well, to start out, why don't you tell us, how did you get involved in the show originally? Season 1.
First of all, thank you for having me, and hi everyone. That would require a long answer, but I will try and keep it short. I started in acting in 2019. So in 2018, I started background performance, and I really liked it. And then 2019, I started concentrating on training. And then when the pandemic come, I just went full strength in acting classes, and I booked the show in 2021, I believe. First season was 2022. So like any other actors, I went through auditions and then, as an actor, once you put in your audition, you don't think about it, you just move on because, it's almost like once you put in your work, you don't think about it, then you'll be fine. Otherwise, if you draw into it, then, sometimes we may get into, I may get into a negative place where I don't want to be. So anyways, I put in my auditions and then went through that waiting and that whole process, and I booked it.
That worked very good. So the one thing I wanted to ask you really quick is, how far in advance do you know? I mean, like, are you guys given scripts, or do you find it? Maybe you find it easier not to know. I don't know. I know actors are different.
We actually don't know very much. We probably get the script maybe 2 or 3 weeks before we shoot. And pardon me.
So I know you for some reason echoed for a second. You're okay. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So in terms of how it works with we do block shooting. So every block we shoot 2 episodes. And so we don't get the script for the 2 episodes until when we're about to shoot. So yeah, we don't know very much.
So you're in the dark too, huh?
We definitely are. Yes.
Right. And so with such a big cast, sometimes characters don't appear in every episode, right? There might be an episode where characters don't appear. Then do you not get that script and you have to go around and ask everybody, oh my goodness, what's happening this week in the town?
Well, actually in season 1, I didn't come on set until episode 3. So I didn't really know what happened before, right? And so I asked production, I said, I need to know because, in order to do my job, I need to know what happened. And so I got the first 2 episodes and found out that, actually my husband died, right? And so that backstory came alive to me. And so I kind of know what happened before, because otherwise, how can we do our job, right? So there's certain things that we actually need to know, but otherwise we have no idea what's going to happen, right?
I was going to say, that's a pretty important thing you need to know to be able to do the part.
Mm-hmm.
AJ, you want to go?
So as the seasons progressed, your character integrated more with the cast. Can we expect to see more of that going into season 3?
Yes, there will be a lot more interaction with certain individuals, and it's almost like you will find out what happened because there's so many stories behind each character that it's gonna be amazing to find out what happens. It's almost like life, you don't know it about, what's gonna happen in 2 weeks. So it's kind of exciting to have that waiting period to know exactly, oh, what's gonna happen. I hope
Yeah,
that
this
answers.
show is. Yep, it did. This show has definitely been exciting. Jamie, Karen, and I all met because of Lost. We all started watching Lost at different times. We joined groups. Jamie had a chat that we all came together, and we've been friends ever since. And I gotta, there's lots of shows that came after, like, oh, this is the next Lost. This is the next Lost. And I kept saying, everybody that says it's the next Lost, they don't even make it a whole season. And From is the first show that I've seen that I've had that same feeling of mystery since then. So really enjoy it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No, it's having you guys coming alongside with our show that brings it to life, and with the viewer, with their engaging and investing their time. It's really makes this whole experience a whole package for me.
Actually, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, if you don't mind. So you are early in your acting career. This is one of your first like big parts, and you land right on this big show, this big piece of genre television that is like going viral, being really so promoted by the network. And I kind of want to ask you, like, what it's been like for you as a you had a whole other career as sort of like a business person, right? You were a professional working out in the world and doing your thing in the office, and you came a little bit late. You're not like a
child actor.
Well, like a child actor who moves to Hollywood when they're 16 and grows up in the life. And so I wanted to ask you about what it's been like to sort of as a fully formed person to have your second career like find such success so quickly, and what that whiplash has been like for you.
I'm amazed. I'm very grateful for that experience, for this experience, because obviously I've been an HR professional for over 25 years, and basically I kind of retire in my other job. Well, not really retire. I quit so that I could be a full-time hockey mom. And then opportunity comes, and this is my life now. And I can't put all the credit in my own work or in myself. I think I'm a Christian. I believe in God orchestrating my path into this amazing career. And what really caught me when I was doing background, what interested me in terms of in the TV industry, is the synergy. As an HR person, I promoted, what your passion is, because you have to find that passion in order to strive in whatever that you do. And so I do believe in the passion that we have for whatever that we do. And also I believe in having a consistent environment for people to strive, whatever that is, because different people have different desire, different expectation, different needs. So how can you provide that environment for people to excel? So it's the synergy that really attracted me in terms of into the industry. And then as I was, doing background, things started to come back. And I realized, oh, when I was younger, I actually would watch TV show or movies, and then at night I would recreate different scenes, or I would create more scenarios after, or if I don't like certain things, then I would, it's all in my mind, and I would just play that imagination before going to sleep. And I remember sometimes crying because, it's so sad. And then I just make it more sad. And then sometimes I would be laughing because I just turned it into a comedy. But I guess that passion, that creativity just kind of disappeared when I came to Canada. And, trying to fit into the new culture, trying to learn the language and trying to meet new friends. And then I realized, the reason why my parents moved to Canada is so that me and my brothers could have better education. So once I realized that, I just thought, okay, education, academic, so I just kind of focus on that stuff. And then, obviously life came and that creativity, that the desire to make story kind of disappear until when I was doing background and things started to come back. It's almost like there's certain memory that you suppress. And then when the right trigger comes, then all those memories come back.
So I was going to say, you talk about recreating scenes. Are you interested in doing things like directing in the future or anything like that? Or are you sticking to acting for right now?
I think I thought about that, but I think because I came into acting, into the TV industry in such a late time for me, I think right now I'm just going to concentrate in my acting because it's already so. It's such a big area and there's so many different ways in terms of how I can develop my acting or develop my craft. So I think right now I'm going to stick to just acting.
No, I just was curious because you said that. Let me ask you though, I want to talk about your character a second. Tian Chen pretty much is one of the few people that stays calm for the majority of the time in the show. What do you think it is about her? Like what keeps her, other than maybe I guess her family, what kind of keeps her grounded, makes her able to just stay centered and not be freaking out like half the other people there?
I think it's really her multicultural exposure. For someone who doesn't know the language and be able to survive and to stay composed is to observe, right? So, she doesn't talk very much. And so I think she listened. And she listened with heart. She doesn't just, look at people on the surface. She looks at, what's in their heart, what's underneath what they're saying. So I think she does a lot of that. I don't know what that's listening, that underneath exploration or that discovery. So I think that really helps her. And of course, with her age and with her experience, that's what she is. She's grounded and she's, she knows what her place is in From. I think she found her purpose in the From field. And so that what makes her grounded.
That's actually one of the things I loved about season 2 was the way, in season 1, Mrs. Liu, like it wasn't even, she didn't speak much English. You have a lot of scenes and the flashback scenes with your husband are entirely in Mandarin. In season 2, it becomes obvious that she knows so much of what's going on. I think she does speak more English and interact with her characters, but I think she's tuned to like watching people's behavior and picking up context cues from your body language or from how they behave, and the way she really, particularly the way she shows compassion and understanding in so many scenes, especially after Jim and Tabitha's family move in, right? And it's obvious that she really is, she's fully informed and knows very well what's going on. And for me, I think her character is like being one of the older people in the town, and having been to a point where you lose your spouse, you've raised your child. I wonder if she faces impending doom a little bit differently than a young family or a young person might. Not that she's not, you know, having a different way of facing danger or of accepting a situation that you're in and making the best of it. You know, I just see her as such like a model of like facing that adversity.
Mm-hmm. I think obviously with her, you know, with her culture, with Tin Shan's culture, and with the Chinese background, and also, oh, by the way, we speak Cantonese in the show.
I'm sorry, I should have checked
That's
that.
okay.
I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So I think with her culture, how should I say it? My culture, Chinese. I'm Chinese, and I think it's ingrained in us that we have to suppress. You know, there are a lot of things that deem to be negative. You know, what we deem to, you know, whatever it is that we deem to be negative, we suppress it. Everything it's you know, good. But I think in a way, Tin Shan is it's a little bit more advanced than my own understanding and my own culture, because even though she have that tendency to suppress or deny certain things, she also has that strength to face what it is, what's in front of her. And you know, when I talked about, you know, she found her purpose, it's really she found her community, she found her usefulness in terms of how she served the community to cook for them and to make sure that their basic needs is met. Having the basic need, and you know, it's also almost like how she mother her Kenny. She makes sure that his basic need it's met. And then she also, you know, another thing that I would like to mention is that she's also more advanced in terms of how she parent her son. She supports them. She doesn't, you know, um, she's not in that controlling mode that, you know, the son has to do what the mother wants, but basically she support what the son want. And she support him to be a good sheriff. She support him to be making himself useful for this, in this community, for the people there. So I think, you know, she, how should I say it? She has that strong cultural background, but she also is more advanced in terms of breaking through the cultural barriers. I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. Thank you. Great answer.
Now, I'm gonna say, I think that you can maybe talk a little bit about when we ended last season, they're having trouble getting enough food, and that's been mentioned more than once. Now, all the food, as far as I know, is in the basement of their house. So is that, I mean, you talk about her taking care of people and that, could that become maybe contention later? Is there anything you can maybe say about that?
The food shortage is definitely a concern. And I think, you know, that's one struggle that you probably would see how things would get developed. But in terms of Tin Shan, I think she knows, you know, she understands that there's a food shortage, but she works within what's given to her, right? And she finds way to work outside of the limit that is given to her. So I'm not too sure what's going to happen.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this, and I'm gonna.
There are mushrooms and trees and roots.
Yes.
and forests.
Well, there's a forest too. There's got to be some stuff there. Let me ask you this, and I'm going to leave this more open because I don't know what you are allowed to say. But obviously, we see in the trailer that there's some kind of attack or something going on. Seems like they're outside at night. Let's just say that. We'll leave it at that. What are you allowed to tease in a more generalized way? Don't spoil anything, but what are you allowed to tell us about season 3 and kind of what's going down? Because obviously, it's exciting. So.
It's exciting. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be scary. So watch out for the first episode.
Definitely.
Coming on Sunday.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Do you know what I don't know if you know, I'm going to ask you, but do you know what time it's being released? Because everybody keeps asking, and I'm not even sure, but maybe you know, maybe you don't know.
I think it's going to be airing at 6 p.m. PST time.
Okay.
So Pacific Standard Time. So that's 9.
Okay. So it's at night. It's not released
Yeah.
at midnight. All right. So people don't have to stay up all night trying to wait to see it. Then that's good. All right. AJ, do you have something? I talked. Sorry.
Yeah. For you said that you guys only get the scripts right before you guys shoot and everything. So for you, what was your biggest "oh my god, I didn't see that coming" moment
For my own character?
for yourself? Since you didn't know what was going to happen until you guys did the scenes.
So just as myself, but not for my character, right?
As a viewer, I
Right.
think you mean.
Yeah,
Just in general as a viewer.
I think it was the bus at the end of season 1. That was like, I didn't see that coming. And I didn't see, once that came, then it's almost like, okay, who's going to be on the bus? That was a lot, a lot of our question, who's going to be on the bus? And then when season 2 comes along, then we found out who's going to be, who's on the bus. And then I think for the season 2, it's what shocked me was Tabitha got pushed.
Yeah, that was
that
mine.
shocked everybody.
Yeah, that was like, oh, what's gonna happen? And obviously, with the another point, another thing was the cicadas. When Randall, Julie, and Marielle were in that screaming and sleeping stage, those were a shocker for us.
That was definitely freaky. Do you have a favorite scene from season 1 or 2? Just in general?
I have a lot of favorite scenes. You mean for my character, right? For Tin Chan?
Whichever, whatever's your favorite that sticks out.
Yeah. One of my top one is the one with Kenny. I'm not Kenny. Jade. The one where I, scolded at him and told him to stop complaining. That's one of my favorite scenes. It's kind of light, it's comedic, it's a little bit funny, and so I really like that. And then some of my I like a lot of my scenes, but another one that I really like is the one that I told Sarah how she broke my heart, how she took something away from me. That was really heavy, and that was really that was I was gonna say fun to shoot, but it was really heavy to shoot that scene. But it was really satisfying.
I just watched that scene today.
Oh,
I was rewatching part of the season 2.
Yeah.
And I rewatched that scene today. It is a great scene. And, I love, actually, I wanted to ask you maybe about the way Tian Chen is processing that knowledge is so different from the way, like, Kenny is so full of rage.
Mhm.
And the way they each process that is so, Tian Chen she's so controlled, but it's so devastating. It's almost more devastating than Kenny's anger, I think, that scene.
That's a really interesting scene because, I always think of it as when I was doing that scene, it's almost like there's so many layers of emotions in that scene. That's why I think it was really fun. It was challenging to do. what it is you have, on one end, you have this deep love, mother-daughter's love for Sarah. Because the relationship is so close, what she did hurt so much. So it's almost like two opposite ends. And then in between, there's so many layers of different things that goes on. You know, there's the feelings of betrayal, there's the feelings of anger, there's still a feelings of anger, and there's a feelings of pain. There's like so many things in that little scene that I just find it, you know, as an actor myself, it's just really liberating to go through all those emotions. And then once I gave her her belongings, I went into the kitchen and I lashed out. And I actually don't lash out very much. I actually don't. As Elizabeth, the person. But because there's so much anger, there's so much frustration, there's so much pain, that lashing out was so liberating too, because it allows me to take out all that negativities out of my system as in character and also as, the real person. So it was very interesting. I that's why I think, that is one of my, fun is not the right word, but I think it's just a rewarding scene for me.
Sure. You have something, AJ? I can go. I just didn't want to cut you off. I feel like I'm talking too much. I didn't want to give him a chance. Okay. Well, then I know I was going to say, Jade, you talk about her and Jade a little bit. What do you think it was about Jade that she connected? I mean, other than their conversation, obviously they had that conversation, but before that, what do you think it was about him that she sort of, I don't know, just, they seemed drawn to each other. They got along really well and they had great fun and at times funny, but it was a lot of great scenes because of that. So where do you think that came from?
I was asked that question and that's a really good question. I really can't pinpoint it. I don't know. It could be the writing. It could be the chemistry between David and myself. It just there, I remember one of our earlier scenes in the diner when he was raving and, thinking that this is like all a game, and he jumped in the queue of, people lining up for the food. And, like all that setting and I know that when I was doing that scene, I was looking for something to pin at Jay. And obviously sometimes as a new actor or maybe even an experienced actor, you find something different on set. When you read the script and then when you go to set, it's a little bit different because the setting is different, the placement of things are different, and then you now have the people in the diner, right? You have individuals in the diner that you can actually visualize and they're standing right in front of you. So I remember when we were doing the scene, when we were going through the sequence and the placement, I remember I was pinning him for jumping in queue in front of that elderly gentleman. He took his plate and he jumped in front of the queue and then for me, for Tin Chen, it's almost like you don't do that to elders. Yeah. You don't disrespect your elder people. You don't jump in front of them. You don't take their plates. You're actually supposed to give them your plate and let them go first, or whatever it is, right? So I think it was set. Our chemistry was set pretty early because the way how Jay is played. David is such an awesome actor, and there's like, I just find that there's a little bit of comedic element because he was having fun, right? So that was supposed to be a funny scene. And so once I target on that behavior, things just started going.
Yeah, I love
I don't know how
that
to
she's the
explain
one
it.
he listens to. She's the only one he usually listens to.
Well, it's almost like he's the little child and you're trying to, push the boundary and see how far he can go. And Tin Chen is the only one that can say, you know what, you don't cross that's it.
She's the
You know,
town
this is it.
mom. She's the mom. Even if you don't listen to the sheriff, you listen to a mom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if they're in a situation where everybody needs their mom when they're afraid.
And it's almost like, I mean, David is such a he's actually a real chef himself too.
Oh,
In real life. He can just, go into the fridge and see what's left over and he can whip up whatever. So yeah. So there's he plays someone that in a way I don't know. Sometimes I see his trade too.
Let me ask you, because you talk about, obviously these are the more funny scenes, but because the show does get so dark sometimes, do you guys like, what do you do, I guess, in between takes, just in general, everybody, to sort of not be so, to lighten it up a little bit? Is there a lot of fooling around, or do people kind of stay, I guess, in the moment?
No, we try to get together on the weekends. On the weekdays are a little bit more difficult because different people may be on set on different day, different time, so it's a little bit harder to get together. But sometimes if we need to, like for instance, when Kenny and I had to shoot, then we got together before our filming, because we wanted to get together to go through our lines and stuff like that. So you do find odd times that you're able to get together. But yeah, on the weekends we try and go and have fun, go out for dinner, and I did a lot of crocheting and puzzling and music, and I learned how to crochet from Hannah,
Cool.
Julie.
Very cool.
Oh, that's interesting. You had a crochet character at the end of season 2, right? Or during season 2, Eldon comes in and he's a crochet guy.
Yeah.
You got a theme going on.
Yeah.
As well as on set.
I don't know. I'm just thinking I so can't crochet. I've been trying to learn to crochet. It's not easy. So the other thing I want to ask you is, a lot of this season's about, obviously, the town trying to break people, but it's about fears and that kind of thing in general too, the show. What is it that like scares you, just Elizabeth? Just out of curiosity. I mean, are you a scary movie person and scary show person? Are you somebody who gets scared easy?
I do. I jump and I scream. So I normally wouldn't watch horror movie, but it really, I'm learning now that horror it's a broad term. There's psychological horror, there's, physical horror, there's like gory horror. There's a big range of horror. So, thinking about it, I think I would watch From, because from day one, I even in my Instagram for season 1, I keep saying, I hashtag horror drama, because there's so many stories behind the characters that it is horror, because all the elements are there, the gory and the blood, everything is there, the suspense. But there's so many stories behind these characters, and they all have their own struggles. They all have their things that they're dealing with. And so I see a lot of drama too. So I definitely would watch From.
It's got quite a lot of different kinds of things in it. Do you have, I was looking, that's why I'm like looking at my other monitor. Do you have, I don't know, maybe you don't, but do you have anything else that you're promoting at all besides this, or are you just sticking with this for now?
Oh, you mean for project wise?
Yeah, project wise. I know sometimes people can't talk ahead of time, and I don't know, you're busy filming, so it's hard to tell, but I'm just curious if you had anything.
I just finished filming a short film in July. It's a short film. It's going to come out in November or October. I'm not too sure. So once it's out, I'm definitely will be posting it on my Instagram. But until then, I'm not too sure how much I could say.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I asked that, and you never know if you can talk about it or not.
Yeah, but it's another fun project that I was really drawn to. And of course, as a new actor, I would love to play all kinds of roles, different roles. But one thing that I'm really drawn to is it's immigrant stories. How their life, because all of us come with a different background, come with a different story, come with different struggles, and that's what I would like to get involved more, because I think there's so many immigrant stories that are worth telling. So I'm really I was really proud, and I was really happy to be in that project. So
we'll have to look for it. All
You know,
right. Well,
let me real quick. We might have to wrap up, but that made me think. I did want to ask you, how do you enjoy working in 2 languages? I mean, there are so many more stories on TV now that are bilingual, multilingual, told in we're all getting more used to watching it. But how do you, as a new actor, enjoy working in 2 languages, and how that works out? You're probably the expert on the set.
I'm really happy that this is going, because I think growing up in Canada, not seeing a lot of people speaking Chinese, or on TV and stuff like that, it's not giving me the correct or the right example for myself. And I think, having different languages, having the diversity on TV and the public, I think it just it gives people that much education. It educate people, there are different dialects, different languages, and they're expressive, they're just expression of in different words and different dialects. And we should be treated all the same, and we should be treated consistently. But I think in order for people to understand each other, it's giving that exposure, and to give people that education of what culture and what languages are out there. So I'm really happy that this is going, and I love speaking my languages. I love speaking Cantonese, and I love speaking Mandarin. Cantonese is my mother tongue. Mandarin is my second language, and English is really my third. I'm still working on all of the languages, because I'm no way I'm an expert in any of those languages, but there's always room for improvement. So I'm hoping that I would get that opportunity to use them to the best of my abilities.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We've gone probably over time, so we'll let you go. But thank you for talking to us. We appreciate it. It's been fun. Excited for everybody to see the show next week. Then I can at least talk about it finally. But
Thank you for having me.
Sure, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
So much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. Thanks.
Nice meeting you guys. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
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 Bye. All right. Let me see if I can.
Oh, that was great. That was so much fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was. I'm trying to there. Yeah, there. There we go. I'm trying to put it back.
What happened, Karen?
All of a sudden. You're good. You're good. Well, before we go off the from train, I was going to ask you guys. I know we can't talk about next season, but since it is coming up next week, what are you guys looking like? What are you most looking forward to seeing about the show? What are your big questions? I guess.
I just lost.
How the hell Tabitha got outside the from zone?
From zone.
I mean, that's probably everybody's biggest question, but
yeah, I keep going to say off the island. I have to keep watching.
That's one way to do it.
To go to say that
Probably happens, especially if you're talking to Harold.
Yeah. What about you, Karen?
Yeah, I mean that was a very lost kind of. I mean, that was a very lost kind of moment, right? And I assume she'll have her "we have to go back" moment. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Season 2 like pulled so many weird kind of. I remember talking about it last season. We were like, "What's with this music box? What's with this ballerina? What up with the cicadas or whatever?" And I mean, I'm maybe looking forward to a couple answers. I don't have to have all the answers to everything, but maybe
They just have to be good answers.
I mean, I'm looking forward a little bit more to the food shortage also, and the way we saw it starting to become a struggle for resources, and the whole like we were there first, and these new people on this bus came and we don't have enough food for them, and like.
And how do we decide to be fair or to screw them, right?
Well, yeah, or do we? Like, I'd like to think I wouldn't be that person that would be like, we were here first and this is our food and you all new people, whatever, I mean.
Dale, huh? Is his name Dale? Dale.
I'm interested in how that might, like, pose a new danger, like how they might start to tear themselves apart just when they most need to be sticking together, right?
Yeah. I would say I kind of was with AJ. I wanted to know what was up with Tabitha leaving and what that means for the show, how that could change it. Because, I mean, they don't know she got out. So I guess it doesn't necessarily affect them at this point. But I don't know. It's interesting. And you kind of wonder.
Tabitha doesn't even know she got out.
Well, we know for the last few seconds. She don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
She's in that hospital bed at the end.
But yeah, I'm also curious to see if they're going to I guess change things around again, because I feel like season 1 was mostly the monsters, and season 2, like you said, it was the music box. It was a whole bunch of other things. So I'm curious if there's going to be a lot of other new, what kind of things we're going to get.
That's the great thing about this show, because of the whatever's causing everything, they can play with any avenue. So you never know what's going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm like more than a little freaked out by those creepy puppet mannequin looking things in the trailer, and I'm not sure I'll be able to watch them. I might have to fast forward or close my eyes. They're a little like Blair Witch looking kind of, I don't like.
Oh, those things too. Yeah,
I don't like those puppet head things that we saw.
I don't like the totem things.
I don't like that pile of rocks that Tabitha was making.
In other words, you don't like anything, huh, Karen?
I have my limits.
She doesn't like the witchy things. Anything she thinks is witchy, she don't like, right?
Yeah, I have my limits on the supernatural side, right?
I didn't like the spiders. That was my thing. Speaking of, I will say this because our thing isn't embargoed, so I can say it. I haven't put it up yet, but apparently in one of the episodes coming up, episode 6, I believe, and I haven't seen it, so I have no clue. But when I talked to Harold Perrineau the other day, he was saying that something that's in it, I guess, is what he, as in himself, doesn't like or is afraid of. He said it was hard to film. So
spiders.
That would be fun. I don't know what it is yet. We'll find out.
Whoa. Okay.
And, yeah. But speaking of that, for people who are waiting, that interview should be up hopefully tomorrow. I'm just finishing up writing it up and editing the video, and that'll go up. That'll be fun. And for everybody else tuning in, don't forget that on the 1st, which is that 2 weeks from now? I want to say that's 2 weeks from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, We'll be having Ricky Hay come in, who plays Kenny, to talk to us live. People can come back, but next week, obviously, we'll be reviewing it. And people can read my preview review that's up at scifivision.com now. We need to move on. Otherwise, I'd say I could review a couple things. But it is there. It is spoiler free. I will just say, I think people who like the other seasons will very much like it. I definitely was into it and was shocked many times. And yeah, it's awesome. I'm waiting to talk about it. That's
the most important thing we can say about From is if you're not watching it, go watch it, because
go watch it.
we talk.
You still have a week to go watch season 1 and 2, and they're both on Amazon. Or you can get MGM Plus, which will have,
You're looking at 3 losties here who are feeling a lost vibe from the show. So
I am. It's free. I don't have MGM, but I was able to watch all of season 2 on MGM for free today.
That's cool.
On demand. I have Xfinity, and it was on my on demand for free. So
you might have MGM through Xfinity, though. You might be subscribed to it.
Do they get a 7-day trial period? Do they have it? MGM 7-day trial period. There you go. You watch it all through 7 days.
Calling sick to work, and
or the first 2 are on Prime, but obviously, if you want to watch the new ones, that's not going to help you. So, but definitely recommend it. It's the best. I think right now the best thing it's on right now, definitely.
Well, we got 2 things that are on our schedule for tonight. So
3. I'll talk a little bit about Wynonna, even if you didn't watch it, unless you want to wait and talk about it next week. I didn't know if you were going to watch it or not.
Yeah, let's if you don't mind, we can hold it.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I just didn't know if you were going to or not. Okay, well because I don't want to spoil it. Let's start with, you want to start with the Ark or Snowpiercer?
Let's start with the Ark.
Point.
All right, I'm going to stop my camera and put up the overlay.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll turn myself off too.
Oh,
leave studio. Not leave studio. I almost.
Oh yeah, you got pictures. So yeah.
We might as well turn our mugs off.
All right. So this episode was called Cycle of Violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the big kind of Eastern Federation encounter episode. With it dropped a big old shocker on us.
I remember them saying that they were shocked when they found what was coming up. I definitely was shocked, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, you mean when we had our guests on our couple of
they said that I forget exactly what they said, but Reese and Richard were saying that something happened that changes everything, that shocked them. I definitely was shocked. Yeah, that was crazy. There's something else I was going to say that I lost track of. Sorry, I'm getting out Excedrin as I'm talking. I'm getting a headache, but I'm trying to figure out what I was going to say. I'll remember. Talk a little bit. I'll remember what it was.
There's a bunch of things about this episode that were kind of surprising to me. I'm not really sure how I feel about this development this week. How did you guys feel about that? I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, I liked that they finally told more about the Eastern Federation and like why they were fighting each other.
I don't think that's what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about.
No, I know what she's talking about, but first you talk about the death, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, because that's kind of the end, I'm just going to say I did like that they finally told kind of what it was between us and them and why they were fighting and everything. And obviously it ends up that we're sort of the bad ones in this scenario.
I mean,
we there's no we. There's no we.
The
GSA.
The GSA.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not saying we. You know what I mean. I'm saying we as in opposed to not Eastern Federation. Our character.
I'd rather be. I don't know. I might want to be Eastern Federation.
Yeah. I mean,
we definitely have a. Never mind.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was being a smart ass.
No, I was going to say, this is another one of those conversations that we have on a lot of shows about, the morality and how many lives do you sacrifice to save somebody else. And obviously what the GSA did was absolutely horrible. And now we, think maybe they're not so bad. But at the same time, I'm watching it and I'm thinking, yeah, but I also kind of can see their point of view too. Like, I wouldn't want to be on that side and I wouldn't want to be making that decision and I wouldn't want to be killing people. But if they're saving the human race, like, where do you draw that line? without having that experience, it's not something really you can say. But it's an interesting discussion, and I know they won't go in depth in this show. I highly doubt. But
there was a lot that was left unsaid. So there was like, oh, they're going to build a bioweapon to kill 6 billion people. And so that the remaining, I don't know, right now we have almost 8 billion people on the planet. So that the remaining.
Yeah, it's not even, they're killing the majority unless they have a lot more. I mean, I'm sure in the future they have more of a population than we do, but still, still seems like a majority.
I mean, so where I was going with that was there are, they're going to kill a certain amount of people so that the remainder can have more resources to live a little longer. I don't think it was clear that it was going to save the planet. It was going to enable some people. It was going to enable some people to live longer until they could figure out a plan, right? What was left unsaid was, gee, which 6 billion people are going to be killed? Like, I've seen this movie where, I mean, I'm not saying I've seen a specific movie, but let me finish. I've seen this happen in like other science fiction where is that a bomb aimed at a certain continent? Are they going to kill the East where the Eastern Federation lives? Are they going to genetically engineer it to kill people is it going to be the poor people and the rich people live? Like, all of that was unsaid. And I don't know if this show is going to go there, but it certainly was sinister, right?
It was. I feel it was implied, especially by Trask, who was going to be saved and who wasn't. Or Trust, I mean.
Trask is bad guy in a different franchise, yeah. I think it was implied, and Trust was like, oh yeah, I was working on that too. That was a good idea.
Right. We're not surprised that he was wanting to do it.
Unfortunately, one thing that is also unexplored, with Lane's death, the struggle with his father, his father was on the moon base where it was happening, and his father was a part of that. And by killing him, they won't show his, I don't know. His struggle with who his father was, I guess, was a little bit of a red herring of a storyline. He was angry about. Oh, I'm echoing. I'll just mute for a minute. You guys talk.
I think with Lane, all right, so I think in a way he was kind of resolving things. It's interesting that they did away with Lane before we could explore all the feelings about his dad and everything, because I think it's pretty, I mean, now it's just speculation on our parts, but I think it's pretty safe to say that I think the reason Lane had such a tumultuous relationship with his father was because I think the only reason his father took him from the cloning factory and brought him home was because his wife was upset that she couldn't have babies. So he said, here you go, here's a baby. And I think that's why he never really looked at Lane as his son.
And we never got to see
Or he thought, I grabbed the wrong clone because you're a dumbass. Obviously now we're not going to explore that. And it turned, I mean, his dad had his finger in all the bad stuff that JSA was doing. So
yeah, he was, and now he kind of has to. Well, it doesn't matter now because he's not there. But I mean, I think he finally forgave Bryce and maybe understood it a bit better. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen more of the aftermath of what he feels against him now or for him now. Not blaming him or whatever. And like you said about his father, I would have liked to have known his reactions to finding all those kind of things out, and we won't know. I mean, on the positive side, at least the actor's still going to be in the show. There's that. Well, also we're losing that ship too, but I mean, I guess there's the clone. But
now, actually, that's funny because I thought of both of you when Lane died. My first thought was, well, there goes Jamie's love triangle. And the other thing I thought was, Karen is not going to like this because we just saw another show where they did something very similar where the actress is staying, but we lost the character. However, while Orphan Black, I hated that decision. I think they made a big boo-boo. I I feel a little. I was surprised by losing Lane, but I didn't feel the same impact I did as Echoes. I mean, Lane's story was nowhere near over. I'm not really sure what their decision was to kill his character, unless it, I mean, I guess, the storyline now is seeing Garnett and how she copes with the loss of somebody she might have, been thinking about romantically, at the very least, probably her best friend on the ship at this point.
Yeah, but yeah, there were definitely romantic feelings, potential for romantic, I guess you'd say.
Right.
I just want to, before we get too far ahead, I want to put up Ark's comment about that it was implied that it was the rich that would live. I agree with that. I think that's what they were kind of implying. Yeah. The only thing I take with this show, and I said this when we were all chatting about it, I don't understand when they're, to begin with, in the future, they have, all the tech and everything. Why could they have not done a live liver transplant? You don't have to have a dead person to get you don't have to kill somebody to take part of their liver. They could have done a partial transplant of even whether it was Lane or even of the clone.
Lane was going to die anyway.
Yeah, I know. But why not take the one kidney or whatever from, because you can live with one kidney, right? Take one kidney from the clone to give to Lane and take part of the clone's liver to give to the other guy. And then they all could have survived. I mean, that's at least, now granted, look, I don't know medical stuff and I could be completely wrong, but I do know they can do a live liver transplant of part of a liver and people can live through it. And I just feel like I wish they would have, I don't know, given some explanation of why this was the only way, because I right away was like, why?
So, I mean, that is correct.
But I feel like they were saying Lane's injuries were too severe.
Well, because both his kidney, he got stabbed in both of his kidneys. I mean, Jamie is correct that when they do a liver transplant nowadays, you only need a part of the liver, and in both parties, it will grow. It'll grow to a full liver in the donor and the recipient. So you can donate part of your liver and retain it. Both of Lane's kidneys were destroyed, which is why he was definitely going to die. Right now, why they didn't why they didn't take a kidney from Ian? I mean, Ian's very clear when he says, they can, we were designed to be organ donors, and Dr. New Guy says, oh, that's nice of you. That's nice of you to offer. And Ian says, oh, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about him. Ian doesn't offer a kidney.
No, he doesn't. But I think if they said to him, we won't kill you, just give us a kidney, I would think they could talk him into it.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, I mean, a person should never be talked into donating an organ. It should always be freely given.
TV show, I'm allowed to say that. In the tie him down and cut his kidney out.
It should always be freely given. We don't know if he has to. They've always been, we don't know if he has to. And I think that a person who is raised in that environment probably is very resentful and suspicious of organ donation. And, there is risk living with one. And, I think it would have been helpful sorry, there goes the ambulance going by. I think it would have been helpful if they could have dropped one line of dialogue that said, he can't, his kidneys are so far gone, he can't even take a transplant.
That would have made me feel better.
Words of dialogue might have, and who knows, maybe they got cut, right?
That happened.
Ark is asking the same question. Lane was going to die, but that's a good question. And we'll need to ask the next time we have people from the show on why they chose to not. It was kind of a little rushed and oversimplified. And I wondered also why they did that. I really am with AJ when he says Lane's story wasn't nearly over, and their decision to kill him is kind of shock. Sometimes when you can be like, okay, that character died. Like when Kat died, like, okay, we liked her, but her story really was over. And like, what was there really
I disagree
with her except taking up space and making a joke now and then? So I kind of feel like, was he killed in service to Garnett's storyline? And like now we're going to see.
I know what I think it is.
Are we going to now have to watch Garnett have lost her? So when I like downloaded this photo and put it up, I captioned it BFF, like she's lost her. Did we think that might be going somewhere romantically? Yes, maybe, but mostly they were best friends and the person she relies on most, and her second in command, right? And so, was he killed in service to her character development? Do you think?
Highly like. I mean, that's what I mean. Where else is it going? I mean, what other? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's going to affect Bryce too.
Yeah.
He's Bryce's best friend also. And so the actor's staying, and I guess they did kind of elevate. Ian got this role as the chief negotiator, where they're like, "Oh, you're the perfect impartial party, because you hate everybody."
He was
equally.
Yeah. I think his role is probably going to expand now that Lane's gone.
I mean, I think it is, and yet he's not qualified to be bridge personnel the way Lane was.
No.
And so,
well, to be fair, none of them were really qualified to be to get the roles they got. They got it as everybody else done.
They were all lieutenants in the GSA
and
trained for. Whereas how the clones learned how to fly a ship, I don't know how they even know how to fly a ship, since they basically were never out of a lab until they hijacked a ship. But whatever.
He doesn't have to be a higher up to still be in the show more, was my point.
Well, but I'm wondering what his role is. He's not a bridge person. Like all of
Angus
Mark is saying maybe Garnet and Ian will become lovers. Yeah, they might do a romance between the two of them. It still makes sense.
Well, they could bond over Lane's death.
I guess to me that would be false. Ian just met Lane a couple days ago and isn't really like.
I don't think they're going to.
It's his clone brother.
But eventually maybe.
Listen, I didn't say I liked the idea. I just said it's a possible direction.
Yeah. I'm saying I think it would be a false equivalency. She's lost her best friend. He's lost. Okay, it's a clone of you, but he's got lots of clone. He had lots of clone brothers, and barely knew Lane, and he hates the GSA, and he hates that. He's not a. I don't see. I have not noticed any kind of spark between them. Not that there was a spark with Garnet and Lane, but there was a developing thing there over a couple years, and I don't think it ever was like a physical, not that it wasn't physical at all, but you know what I mean, that it came from another place. It wasn't like, I see you, you're hot, let's get together, right?
Right. They were friends first.
Yeah. So, and coworkers and colleagues and whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's possible. Maybe next season.
Art brings up a good point. If they don't trust Ava, Ian's engineer.
Oh, yeah. In the interim, it's probably helpful that he's there. Whether he'll keep the job, I don't know. But
I think Ava's right back in. Ava talked to EF.
Yeah, she saved the day.
I think at this point we know that the Eastern Federation wasn't bad, really. So, well, that's not entirely true. They still did bad things, but so did our side. At least we're assuming
what did they do. That was, I mean, they're
the opinion that they still killed people for their cause. Again, does that make them wrong? Not necessarily, but I think she should be back in. I totally think she should be back in.
I mean, I think she is. I mean, you think she should be probably. Like, you think they should let her, or you think she should be like,
we'll see I don't think we should hold her back because of it. They know they were wrong.
I think I've discovered something on tonight's podcast. I think we've discovered that Jamie's part of the GSA. But she keeps referring to them as us.
I always do that with the show. There's the we are the main the main characters are we. The what they are GSA, so I say we. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's never really been said what the Eastern Federation has really done, except for they're terrorists, they're dangerous, they and they supposedly were going to attack the moon with good reason. We've now learned.
Yeah. Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah. So, I don't know how other people. Oh wait, I have to. This is in all caps. I agree, AJ. I think that's.
Mark, I don't know what you agree with, but okay.
I believe she's agreeing that Ava will be right back.
Or the
with
Jamie's
us.
GSA.
Or that Jamie's GSA, yeah.
I really do say, yeah.
We had this other thing this week with Angus.
Poor Angus.
Poor Angus being drawn to Kelly. And it turned out to be sort of a red herring. Like he was drawn to her because her nanites were being called home because she needed.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. It was kind of silly, but he's drawn to her, and you think he's kissing her, but he bites her lip and transfers the nanites back to her, and boom, she's healed, right?
You see that coming. I kind of saw that coming, that he was being drawn to her, and that's why he was seeing her. I did see that coming.
I mean, I saw him being drawn to her. I thought there'd be some better storyline payoff than like, oh, he just had to transfer the nanites and now she's fine. Like I thought, like, could at least Alicia have seen it and be mad at him? Or...
Yeah, that I was totally expecting that. I was expecting when he stood up, I was expecting Alicia to be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
She said that was uncomfortably weird. It was uncomfortably weird.
Well, it was supposed to be.
And she also meant that I was GSA, yeah.
It was uncomfortably weird.
It was supposed to be.
It was. I just meant that I kind of figured it was because she needed the nanites because I figured she's missing some. So
I think that's kind of silly. But so what if she cut her finger and bled out a drop of blood? Would she never be able to heal because a nanite got out? I mean, it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, but I think he purposely transferred nanites.
I don't think a nanite falls if she cuts her finger. Nanites don't just fall out of her if she gets injured. The nanite was going back to, because when they transferred the blood, the nanite had no choice but to go into Angus.
Also, if your hand
by him biting her lip, huh?
Yeah. All right.
By him biting her lip, it was creating a way for the nanite to get back.
I don't know. I guess I just think this was wrapped up too quickly and too like Kelly's. I mean, okay, so I'm happy that I don't have to see more weeks of Kelly in a hospital bed because that's getting kind of old already, right? But the whole Kelly is sick. Oh, she needs it got wrapped up pretty quickly with a pretty bow, and the thing with Angus being drawn to her. I guess I don't know. I guess I just felt like. It was uncomfortably weird, and like, where's the payoff of it?
It's over with. That's the payoff.
That's the payoff. We don't have to see it anymore, right? And we'll go back to Kelly sitting in her jail cell. It's only a matter of time before Kelly gets run of the ship, right?
I think she might already have run of the ship after this.
Yeah, she might. She might. These things are being resolved. So this, I think, was episode 8. So we have this other thing going on where Garnet has proposed that the Eastern Federation needs to join them. There's no other way. The planet they think they're going to, they think they weren't in on the whole deal where the first planet, they accidentally blew up their new home and they have to go to the second, to Trappist instead, right? Proxima B gets blown up. They have to go to Trappist. Sorry, Eastern Federation. I know you thought the planet was free, but actually there's a giant bitch named Mrs. Maddox waiting down there for you. And she'll definitely blow you up. So you have no choice but to go with us, right? And there's all this with the guy getting stabbed and Lane dying. But in the end, he's going to live, right? Certainly they're not going to sacrifice Lane and have this not work.
No, he has to live. If he doesn't live, then Griff and Strickland don't live either.
Oh, yeah. And they have to live. So he'll live, and then I guess the Eastern Federation is going to be there. They're going to fly around together now, right? She's like, you guys fly off and hide, and we'll go down and make the introduction, and then you come back, but you're going to have to give up your weapons for it, right? This is her plan. So I'm not sure. Anybody got any thoughts on where that might be going?
Oh, it's going to backfire.
Oh,
I
I'm
could.
sorry.
It's going to backfire. I could totally see Garnett and her crew being taken and put in prison. We lost Jamie.
We did lose Jamie. She's gone. I don't know what happened to her.
Evil.
So you think it's all going to backfire? It'll totally backfire on her.
Absolutely.
Hi guys, sorry about that. I just all of a sudden my computer completely lost power. It did that to me the other day too. I think my motherboard's going bad again. But anyway, hello. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So AJ thinks this big plan of Garnett's is going to backfire. Her plan of like, oh, don't worry, I'll go down there and tell them you're coming, and it'll all be fine.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing I've started to notice, I mean, I'm not just starting to notice about Garnett, but Garnett kind of leads by the seat of her pants. I don't see, I especially lately, she's making decisions in a matter of moments without thinking through things first. And I had a specific example a second ago in my brain, and it's gone now.
And she doesn't consult her.
The scene. Well, the scene with when Strickland was like, "I'll go," and she's like, and he's like, "And I'll take Kimmy," and she's like, "No."
I mean, that was good advice. That was right. She goes, "She's a freaking EF Hunter,"
which is why she would have been the perfect person to go. I think that would have been better than Griff.
No, I think Garnett felt that she would not be capable of reaching any kind of a true negotiation or compromise because she's too biased and too ideologically inflexible.
Yeah. I mean, I think she has good intentions, but I definitely don't think it's going to work out the way she thinks. Because I mean, it took how long just to like get a couple people to listen to her, and look what happened. They had a couple people die or almost die, and now you want to, convince a whole big group of people. It's just not gonna.
Well, I mean, I think that maybe is that's going to fall on Ava to save the day. Maybe again, right? She's the Eastern Federation person who maybe can talk to them. She already did once, and maybe it will fall to Ava it's going to fall to Captain Vega to convince his crew, right? And
Convince them. Yeah. I mean, to convince the rest of the GSA.
What do they have to be convinced about?
That the Eastern
And
Federation people can be trusted and not to kill them.
Yeah.
Well, how are they gonna? But I don't know how they're going to kill them. You mean she has to convince Maddox when she gets to the planet? She has to convince her own crew.
Yeah, well,
they don't have access to weapons. They're not coming aboard.
I should have said Maddox. That was more what
I understood. I understood you.
I didn't. I thought you were talking about the people aboard the Ark.
Not the people as the masses, but the people as the leaders, the ones that are at the top. So yes, Maddox.
They go along with everything she says. She never has to convince those within 2 minutes, her entire command people always give in to her.
The people on her ship, yeah. That
she's always like, she's inclined to trust everyone always, and they always go along with her.
That's not true. Bryce is always mistrusting everybody, rightfully so, apparently.
Well, he gives in. They've never not gone. They've never not gone with one of her plans. They've never overruled her. I mean, they really can't.
He gives in, and but he gets to say "I told you so" a lot.
I mean, it is a military organization, and you do, go along with your captain's orders. It's not a democracy.
That's true too.
But Maddox is not gonna. Maddox.
We're speaking Jamie now. Sorry, I'm just laughing at what she's saying. Yes, good. You understand me. That's good.
I mean, yeah. So this big death happened this was episode 8. It's episode 8.
9, I think.
9.
Episode 9.
Next week's the finale.
No, there's 13. Remember we had this discussion.
Oh, I keep forgetting there's 13.
There's 13. So it happened pretty early in the season to kill off this main character. That's a little surprising, right? I mean, Ark reminded us that Christy, what's her last name? Who plays Garnett?
Burke.
Christy Burke had, when she was interviewed on
Talented Universe.
On Talented Universe, when she appeared on our sister show, Talented Universe, she said that episodes 9 and 10 will change the world as we know it. And so this was 9, and
Yep.
we'll see what happens next week with 10 also. And then we'll have 3 more. I'm really usually killing off a main character happens in like the last or the second to last episode, right? Actually, in this show, it happened in the first episode and now in the 9th episode. They're breaking all the rules. They're going crazy over there. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
I don't know. How do chatters feel about it? How do you, Ark? Anybody who's in the chat and wants to let us know how you feel about losing Lane in this episode, and
drop a comment in the comments. That's a weird way to say it. Drop it in the comments.
Is it I mean, I think we have to. I'm not in love with it. I'm not sure where it's going, and there are so many dropped story threads now that bother me a little bit. But I guess if we like this show, we have to trust the writers, and give them a chance to, prove.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it plays out.
Make it pay off.
We've enjoyed the show, so we'll have to hope it goes good. It should.
Yep, we'll have to give them a chance.
How, like Ark said, if 9's really going to change things, we may be completely shocked again next week. So I guess we'll have to wait.
Yeah, you never know.
And just a heads up, I hate announcing things before I have confirmation. I'm too paranoid. But I think we're going to have another Ark interview. Whether or not it's going to be on the podcast or not is undecided yet. Trying to, but people can look out for announcements on that coming up. Sorry.
Well, and Talented Universe has a slew of them coming up.
Yeah, they do. I'm saying on our show. I think we.
Yeah, I know, but
yes, if you want more Ark, go watch Talented on the Talented Universe. You can see even more interviews.
And so when we get one, we'll announce it also. But the cast is out there doing a lot of promotion of this show.
Yep.
Yeah. So all right. So should we move it along to our other show of the week, which also laid a bunch of bombs on us, almost quite literally?
I was just going to say.
Well, no, Harvey stopped the bombs, so they didn't quite.
Well, there's another, there are missiles. So this episode was kind of like.
Ark is saying I think she meant that about Ark, though. We already moved on to.
Oh, yeah. With the Ark was a gut punch, but we should have seen it coming. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably should have. It's hard to know anymore. Some shows shy away from that, others don't. I mean, I don't like seeing the people that I like die, but at the same time, I would rather, be surprised by a show and not always be able to not worry about people because it makes it sometimes too safe and boring. So
I agree.
I appreciate when they kill main characters when they're willing to do it, as long as it's done in the right way, Yeah,
I mean, I guess so. We'd have to get another interview with. Is it Reese Ritchie who plays Lane / Ian?
Yeah.
About maybe it was if I'm an actor, maybe I'm like it's fun while it lasted, but I'm happy to only play one guy at a time. I don't know.
I mean, he might, for all we know, he could be on the rest of the show, and it's just now he's playing Ian, so it may make no difference to him. I guess, we'd have to ask.
Yeah, maybe Ian becomes a regular.
I'm sure playing more than one character is not easy. So
yeah. So Snowpiercer. So I watched it today.
You rewatched it today?
Yeah, I had seen it before. I rewatched it today. There are not a lot of photographs of from this episode, and the battle and what was going on in New Eden, which was really kind of really exciting and tense.
I just want to point out something really quick before I forget,
Yeah.
because the more we go on, I know we've discussed before that the people who make the show don't decide what's in promos and all that. But I really get annoyed when I don't know if it was released in all of the press releases or it's just stupid Xfinity picked it up in their little blurb. But their little blurb said right on it when I clicked on the description, Alex's parentage will be revealed. It's like, wonder who that is. Like, you knew instantly that that's what was going to happen as soon as I read that. And I'm like, why would you put that? That was annoying to me. Because I don't think, I guess it could have been Wilfred, but like Wilfred we think is dead. I don't know whether he is or not. I don't know. But because we've discussed he might not be. But it was kind of like there wasn't a whole lot of choice. Sorry, I just had to put that out there because it annoyed me when I read that before I watched the episode. I guess I shouldn't have read the blurb first.
So I'm annoyed that it was even in the show at all. So
Yeah, that too.
For me,
I thought maybe she was going to like make it up and say that so he would do what she wanted. Maybe that would have been kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
for me, when I saw this episode for the first time, Alex's father is not a thing I ever thought about since the day that, let me finish, since the day that Melanie like mentioned that she had a daughter that she left behind and all that. I never wondered who her father was. I never cared who her father was. It is clear that Wilford became her father figure, her foster father, that he basically raised her. And it never bothered me. I never thought about it. And it kind of irritated me that they shoehorned it in here at the end. And within the course of this episode, it didn't really seem to matter that much. I don't believe it's going to make Alex suddenly be like, oh my God, I have to get to know him. Let's not kill him. I'll help him launch Gemini. It's not going to happen, right? I know. AJ, did it bother you? Jamie, it bothered you, right? So AJ, did it bother you?
Yeah, I'm with you, Karen. I didn't care one way or the other. I've never thought, oh my God, who's her father? I've never even thought about it. For all we know, her father, Melanie, got shacked up with some drunk and kicked him out, and he's in prison now, and that's how Alex came to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I never thought about it one way or the other. So this shoehorn bit about Nima, and I gotta say, I mean, they have the team at Snowpiercer has done a really great job these 4 seasons, and now I
know.
There's certain things this season I just don't like. I'm sorry, Nima might possibly be the worst villain I've ever seen. I mean, not for nothing. Let's be honest. And don't get me wrong, I love James Bond, but that's where Nima belongs. Nima is a James Bond villain.
So I will say that, I watched this whole season very early when I was doing some interviews, and I have been biting my tongue throughout the season while we talk, not mentioning like there are ways that I feel like this season got away from them. And there are things in this season that bother me. And I really, I don't have a picture of them now, but I don't love this whole storyline of this new, like, heretofore unknown colony of humans. And this, I guess I like it. I guess I like the idea that they could save the climate and be able to really live in New Eden. Although I think I maybe was okay with them not really knowing why and that it was just a natural thing. I hate Nima.
Mark didn't like the dad thing either. So I put that up.
Yeah. So Nima icky. Yeah. There's a part of me that of all the people that Melanie could have asked to be a sperm donor for her baby, that she would have chosen Nima as the candidate. First of all, I don't know why she didn't just go. I guess she didn't want to go pay the commercial route to the fertility clinic. She chose to like pick a guy, which look, I know people who've done that and it never works out. There's reasons why this can be done anonymously.
In Melanie's defense, she did say she never thought she was going to see him again.
That's still not necessarily a good reason.
But no, I understand her thought process because of genetics. I mean, it clearly worked because Alex is brilliant.
Yeah, but see, she didn't say that. They gave that speech to Nima. Nima gave this very obnoxious speech to Alex about how there's nature and there's nurture, but nature is so much more important, and you got your brains from me, and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, that is a. I mean, so that was really made him an even less attractive person. I don't mean like attractive romantically.
No, I know what you meant.
As a quality, like made him a lower quality human being. The whole time he was giving that speech, I wanted to like punch him, right? But it, like, if that's why why Melanie chose Nima for his big brain, then I would have liked to have seen Melanie give that speech.
She did, but shorter.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not buying
did.
it.
She said there was never anything romantic between them, but she respected him and he was a brilliant man. That's what she said to Alex.
Yeah, I still, so I guess that asked me to believe also how dramatically he has changed. And it appears that during the time that Melanie made the decision, he was already working on like C7 or what C10 or whatever it's called, right? It's just hard for me to believe that Nima was ever a person that was better than this or different than this.
I agree. I agree with you there completely. You don't just become this egotistical jackass overnight.
Yeah, I mean, he had to always be this egotistical jackass, and I got a lot of problems with his character, and I got a lot of problems with this reveal even happening. I guess my main complaint is the one we've already complained about. Why did we need this information? Why ball gagging with her sock. Nima opens his mouth. I cringe. Yes, he's like, I hated the Admiral, but because he was so great, right? I wanted to punch the Admiral in the face every time I saw him. He was a better kind of a psycho, and I just
Nima's a worm.
He what? He worked?
He's a worm. Nima is a worm
who doesn't really like work for me. And I question why the writers needed to waste my time with this. And could I have seen more people shooting and fighting? And could I get more Ruth on my screen instead of more Nima? I just felt like
I would have I would have loved to have seen the power struggle between Wilford and Milius and Leighton just all the way to the end. I think that would have been more entertaining than this Nima crap.
Yeah, it was a low point of the episode.
Apparently, I'm giving Nima too much credit according to Ark.
I mean, you give me too much credit. Yeah, it was. I mean, on the high point, we did get, Jennifer Connelly is back on our screen.
The episode starts and Artie says, "Hey, they could afford her this week."
Yeah, Mel's back, and I guess she'll be back for the rest of the season. And
the rest of the season, there's one episode.
She's alive, so she'll be around next week. And it looks like it's, this was like Mel and Alex to the rescue kind of episode, where the two of them
she has such a dead stare, doesn't she? I'm sorry, that picture's just funny. Yeah, Alex. She's like, oh.
Not really? I mean, I think
it's the way
the picture is, but it's just funny.
So they are under orders to connect the two trains. I don't really know why Nima needs both trains to launch his missiles. It doesn't really. Do I know? And I just forgot because I didn't really care, and it doesn't really make sense. Or
I don't know. I didn't get that part either. So
for some reason,
they've explained it, and we've all forgotten.
Because it doesn't matter.
But no, it doesn't really matter.
It was explained back by Milius way back when.
Probably.
So for some reason, they need both trains in order to launch this like soccer ball looking thing that Nema is working on, which I had to crop the picture. The whole bomb was in the picture, but I had to crop it to fit on here.
I have to question that taking a bomb over a switch in the track, like jumping the track like that, is a good idea. Because could that set off the bomb? It just seems like not a good idea.
I mean, it's a missile that is going to have this thing is going to launch, like this missile is going to shoot off this thing that's going to release the gas, right?
I guess. I just feel like usually when you're carrying a bomb, you don't want to just like jump a train track like that and hope it don't go off.
Well, I mean, modern bombs can't go off like that. Like a nuclear bomb, like you can hit with a hammer and it won't go off. It has to be triggered electronically, like from the.
Well, the bomb Hobby took off the track though. It went off, but I guess that wasn't because it was necessarily.
Those were different. Those were explosives designed to create an avalanche. Those are different kinds of a totally different thing, right? At any rate, these two are supposed to be connecting the trains and driving the train so Nema can launch his whatever from the right place. And so Melanie, like the greatest engineer ever, who knows how to sabotage every single part of this train, they sabotage it to buy some time, right? I mean, in the meantime, the better part of the episode was this is last week's shot because there aren't any good shots, but the sniper attack on the town, right? Mm-hmm. How'd you guys like that part of the episode?
That part was great.
I liked that how the whole thing with Till saving him and how she fought with what's his face. And he's busy explaining it. She's long gone.
Yeah, the scene with Oz.
That was like really good.
Was great. They did rock paper scissors, and then she lost and went anyway.
Yeah.
That was good, yeah. And she goes up and she gets to be the hero, which she has earned after all she's been through this season.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see that character get a victory. That was kind of exciting.
His conversation with the other soldier was a little weird, though, because she's like, who is this? He's like, I thought you were my ex-wife, or whatever he said. I forget exactly what he said, but it was a little weird of the conversation they had, wasn't it? And she's like, I'm just
remember when he was in the mountain, when he was in the mountains, he thought he kept thinking he was hearing.
Right. No, but I just meant the conversation he had about it with that random woman just was a little weird.
No, he recognized her voice. She wasn't a random woman. He recognized her voice.
Okay. I didn't realize it was supposed to be the same.
Yes, he recognized her voice because because she sounded somewhat like
LJ,
and he had heard her when she was in the mountains, and that's when he thought he was going crazy.
And he realizes, it was you. You're the voice.
I know. I didn't think about it being the same voice as being a female voice. That makes more sense.
Yeah, he recognized her as being the same soldier that he heard over the radio. So they didn't provide us any photos of any of this, but then what happens is that Melanie comes into town and they all get gassed, right? Which turns out to have been Melanie's idea. Melanie's
kind of obvious.
It's kind of obvious. I kind of liked it because I have repeatedly complained week after week after week about Nema, first Milius, and then Nema being like, well, he actually even says this week something like, we have to kill few to save many. And I'm like, few? They're like, there's like hundreds of people in New Eden that you're going to kill to save he makes this remark so that our people can be saved. He says something like resume the lives we had before. It's all a little weird, but so it kind of made sense to me that Melanie somehow Melanie talks him into gassing them. Somehow she talks. I wish we could have seen that conversation. It's like kind of an off-screen thing that she talks him into.
Yeah.
Gassing them instead, and maybe I would have liked to have seen that conversation because I'm the big complainer week after week that it just makes no sense that you're trying to save humanity by killing people.
Well, the reason they obviously did it off screen was so that we have the big aha moment because it looks like Melanie turned on them.
Yeah. And then it turns out she saved them. I don't know why they, Leighton does say earlier in the episode, Leighton says, like, whatever side Melanie is on, we know Alex is on our side.
I thought that was an interesting comment.
Yeah, because I'm thinking I would maybe trust Melanie more than I would Alex, is what I was thinking when he said that.
I wouldn't.
I don't know. It's hard to tell anymore.
Melanie, hey, listen, season 1, Melanie was the villain.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, but either way, Alex, I don't know that I wouldn't trust Alex to do whatever her mother's doing just to save her mother anyway.
But Alex chose to leave her mother and go with them.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
I would not trust Melanie more than Alex, but I think, like, okay, so it was engineered for us for them to think that Melanie betrayed them, and then you get the big reveal. But did we, the audience, think that Melanie betrayed them? I really didn't, right?
I didn't.
And maybe that's more what I'm feeling, but no, I didn't either.
Right? That none of us had any question that Melanie was going to be on Damon's side.
I guess my point is, as a character, a TV show, I would think that I would trust her because she's like the main
character.
Yeah, so that's what I said. I'm looking at it as the point of view of a TV show, not the point of view of I know these people, So
let's put it this way. I would have been very disappointed in Melanie if she was buying that load of crap that Nemo was feeding her.
Yeah, she's not that stupid.
Exactly.
The load of crap about we need to save a few, we need to kill them to save more.
No, the load of crap that Alex figured out the problem and it's all fixed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he thinks she buys it though. I think he thinks that he can get her to do it, but I don't know that.
I mean, she knows her daughter and she knows she wouldn't do that, right? Like, she knows Alex is more than capable of solving that problem, but she knows that Alex is not going to betray. I'm going to use Jamie's term here, betray our people.
Yes, now you can say our people.
Now I can say it. She knows that Alex wouldn't do that. Nema is just at this point just saying shit that nobody, believes. I mean, we know, I don't know, everybody in New Eden doesn't know what we know, which is that Melanie knows that the data is faulty and that the plan is not going to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people in New Eden are fighting for their right to live at this point, more than to stop him from ruining the planet, right? But we know that Melanie knows that the whole thing is a bad idea and that Alex knows. So yeah, I don't think so. I'm babbling, but we never thought that Melanie was going to betray them in the end.
So I find it kind of interesting, with only one episode left, that they might introduce zombies on this show. Dr. Quackers and Nema are psycho for each other. I mean, like, they might be the best ship on the show. Like,
that was so weird.
Crap.
Wasn't that so weird?
Oh my God, those two. They deserve each other. They really do.
Like, when they look at the dead body of his soldiers and he says, like, so this, I really didn't like this line where he says, we lost some valuable assets. And I was wondering that's a very Milius line to call humans valuable assets, right?
Yeah, I didn't think of it as a Milius line. I that actually falls right in line with this Nema character, where he doesn't value, like, he talks about saving the planet, but he doesn't value life the way normal people do.
Well, yeah, and we know that he's not really interested in saving human life. He's interested in, like, saving his reputation. Like, he's the guy who caused it, and he wants to fix it so he doesn't have to be the
Not
guy.
just him, his whole team. He was just one cog. He was just one cog in millions. or thousands or whatever the fuck he said.
Right, hundreds, right? All of a sudden he's very clear. But I mean, that's what he's after, is like absolving his own responsibility.
Yeah.
Except in a very one-dimensional way that we don't really get to see that. I don't see the dual conflict so much in this character, right? Like I see the obnoxiousness and the hubris, but I don't, like, we know that he's guilty, but we have to really read that into it to see why he's trying to solve it, I guess, right? But yeah, so he says we've lost some valuable assets, and like with your experience,
found is what Orc said.
With your experience, can you do something about it? And she's like, oh yes, everything that dies can be brought back, or something weird like that, right?
Yeah, Ark says, she says what's lost can be found. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think the show should have zombies. I agree with you. Who the hell?
No, I don't really think that. I just that whole.
It was definitely a weird comment.
And you know what the funny thing is? Like, if either of them had that conversation with anybody else, it would have been really weird. But the fact that the two of them had it together, it was actually kind of normal.
Yeah, but it makes it weird for us. I mean, like, it's like...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's supposed to make it weird for us.
But it makes more sense being between the two of them. Let's put it that way.
It makes no sense, right? Because these people are dead. They can't be brought back. And I don't really... I mean, what was the point of that? To show that they're insane? The show doesn't...
Dr. Quackers loves a challenge.
I guess. Mm-hmm. It's just not... I guess it's so... this show, yes, it's fictional, and this is not... But they do situate it in a type of science that we can feel is believable for the purposes of the show, right? And then they drop in this totally not believable thing, like, yeah, that was so weird. That was so weird, and not a thing that this show should be doing or even talking about or going there, right?
Uh-huh.
And the Friezo treatments, which already are like almost a bridge too far, are a far cry from being able to bring a person back to life, right?
Yeah.
That was really weird.
It was.
Yeah. So we're really down to it now.
One more.
Yeah. What do you guys think is going to happen? We know what's going to happen. It's kind of...
You know what's going to happen.
I mean, they're going to save the world. Spoiler to say that... Do you feel like they're probably going to save the world?
I feel like they're either going to save the world, or it's going to be them on the track to save the world, and then which I hope it's the former.
Let's put it this way. The movie was very ambiguous with its ending. It gave hope. This is a different animal because we've explored more avenues and everything. I could actually see this going one of two ways. I could see them... I mean, first of all, like, Nima's whole thing is, it's not going to be... If we don't do it now, it's not going to be viable for another 5 years. Okay. So we wait 5 years. You know? I could see a time jump. I could see where they stop Nima, time jump, and Melanie and Alex figure it out, and they launch it in 5 years. I could see an ending where they stop Nima, and they're like, okay, this is all going to end, so let's just enjoy it while it lasts. And it's kind of a somber note, but at least we stopped Nima from making it happen quicker.
Ark says they'll be back on the train. I could see them being back on the train and then being like, we're going to launch it in 5 years.
We could do that. Back on the train. Well, we already are back in the train. Everybody's back where they started. Yeah. Everybody's back on Snowpiercer.
They don't just be like, well, we have 5 years to figure it out. Type of thing.
Once a tailie, always a tailie.
Yeah, but I just I want an ending.
So I like that idea that they might have to get back on the train for 5 years until there's another chance to launch.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I can see multiple possible endings. I think that all right. So there's one person I'm pretty sure is going to die. I think Oz is definitely sacrificing himself at some point. I have a bad feeling. I just get this vibe the way the last 2 weeks have gone. I feel like Till might not make it. got a bad feeling. That goodbye between her and Audrey was one of those goodbyes where you never see that person again. And then she had her moment this week where she saved Leighton with one bullet and hasn't been a sharpshooter in a while.
Yeah.
So she had her big moment. I really hope I'm wrong because I want Till and Audrey to have a happy ending. But I just got a bad feeling.
Why do you think Oz is going to die? Just curious.
Redemption arc.
Okay.
Every show has it.
Yeah, they could. They both could. I hope.
I think now that everybody's actually really accepted Oz, I think it's now. I think everybody's accepted Oz, but I think he still hasn't forgiven himself for his part with LJ. So I totally see him jumping in front of a bullet for somebody.
Well, and to your point, AJ, like Till sort of stole his shot at redemption in this episode, right?
That's a good
Fair.
point.
Like his chance to save the day. He's like, I know my way around. He made a very good argument why he should be the guy, and Till stole his chance to make it up to everyone. So I like your theory. I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah.
That he has to find another way next week to complete his redemption arc.
Yeah. Now that you said that, I can see it too.
So there's another person who might not, the person we all hope doesn't make it out alive. Like, I don't really see, I mean, I know what happens, but based on what we've seen up until now, it doesn't really leave a window where Nima gets convinced and is like, okay, you guys are right, never mind. Right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't foresee that happening either. Now, do we still think Wilfred's coming back? I don't at this point.
Do. I cannot. I am
had a conversation with Alex this week. That makes me think
holding out hope. I'm holding out hope because I just feel like I'm sorry. Death by blunt doesn't work for me.
Death by blunt. So in this episode was when Alex found out, right? And we saw Alex's reaction.
Yeah, she was a little upset, which I get.
Yeah,
I like when she says, "Did you?" I like when she says, "Did you kill him?" I wouldn't blame you. I tried to kill him once.
I know. It was an odd conversation, but I just kind of figured since they had that conversation, that might be the end of it. But I don't know.
I will be very. Listen, I will be extremely upset with this writing crew if that is how we lose. Wilfred goes out. That's just ridiculous. Ark is killing everybody apparently.
Yeah. Till Melanie, Oz, and Javi.
So
did Javi get on the train now? Did Javi get on the train, or was Javi still in New Eden?
Javi's in New Eden, right?
I don't think he got back on the train.
No, Javi's still in New Eden.
Oh, if he's still in New Eden, yeah, he's probably a goner.
Javi's safe.
Yeah, the people on the train. So I'm sorry.
I think there's a good chance whoever isn't on the train isn't going to survive.
Wait, so Ark is speculating Till, who we already discussed. I agree with AJ that her goodbye with Audrey could have been a final goodbye. Javi, I mean, Javi's another one. It's not a redemption arc, but Javi has really been stepping up into hero roles. I could see that. Ark also feels, who'd you say, Oz, Javi, and Melanie. So
I don't think Melanie's gonna. At least I don't see it. It could happen, but I don't think
you don't see it.
No, I don't know.
It's the finale. Anybody can die, but I don't see.
No, yes, anybody can totally die. She can die. I just, for whatever reason, don't see it happening. But I have no.
I mean, I think Melanie is absolutely a mother who will give her life for her child if it comes to that.
Yeah. If she dies, it's going to be for Alex, definitely.
And so I can't know, but I suspect that might be where Ark is coming from with that theory that Melanie could die and to save the train also, right? Melanie also so Ben already gave his life for the train. I think it's a thing that Melanie might also, it would really complete Melanie's arc as the villain from season 1 to give her life for Snowpiercer in the final episode would narratively makes. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen or not, but narratively that could make sense.
Yeah, it could. It could. You're right.
For her to, also complete an arc on the train. An arc, haha. AJ, you can't forgive if we don't see Wilford again.
Come on. You guys can't tell me that wasn't pathetic.
It was pathetic. It was definitely pathetic. And I think if it is the way it ends, it wasn't great writing that they did that. But I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know.
It was not a good death for really a truly great character.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He was interesting and compelling from start to finish. And we talked about this. I don't think any of us could really believe that he's a man who would ever kill himself.
No. And everybody's seen it. We've all seen those TV shows and movies where you take that drug that slows down your heart and everybody thinks you're dead. Come on now. If they don't use that trope, then they missed the boat.
Yeah. I don't have a picture of him this
week. I mean, all right, not for nothing. It is Sean fucking Bean, and he deserves a better death than that, especially when you consider he's died in everything he's ever been in, and every death he's ever been in has been better than this.
I know. He usually at least gets his head chopped off or something.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or not a great, or I think World on Fire, he lives, but a plane crashes into his house.
Yeah.
Right. So nobody thinks we all think Andre definitely lives.
Yeah, I can't foresee Andre dying because he's a new father.
Andre could die.
I could maybe see Josie dying, but I think Andre will live.
He already.
I don't know. Not for nothing. Andre did have that conversation with Roche.
He did. He did
ask Roche to raise the baby if anything happens to him and Josie, right?
Yeah. Could have been foreshadowing.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely don't see the show killing.
Or it could have just been a conversation.
Yeah. I definitely don't see the show killing both of them. There's no way Roche ends up with that baby. They don't both get killed.
No.
I mean, I could see Josie, another one, giving her life for the train, right?
Yeah. Plus, it seems to me that she's having issues, like medical issues recently. Like the cold thing's going worse or whatever because she doesn't have feeling anymore. And like, I kind of wondered if she was dying, but they didn't really.
She has that conversation with Boki about like not feeling, and he's actually getting he's like, no, pain is good. It tells us when there's a problem. And there is that conversation there.
I mean, based on that, I could see the situation where she's mortally wounded and doesn't even know it.
Oh yeah, that could happen.
Now that you said that, they made a point, or maybe that was on something else. What was that on? Something that we saw where they said that pain was good. I think it was Boki that said it.
Boki said it. Yeah,
like pain was good because it lets you know when something's wrong. That actually could definitely be foreshadowing.
Didn't I just say that?
Sorry, I didn't hear you say it.
That's okay. You internalized it.
Yes, I internalized it.
Yeah. All right, here's another theory coming from Ark. Alex will take over the science. So Melanie giving her life for the train, killing Wilford. So like a final showdown between Melanie and Wilford.
That'd be kind of cool. I'm all for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That she
definitely.
She kills him for real, but dies, and Alex takes over her role. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
That would be great.
Good job, Mark. Maybe you should write for the show.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, right.
Now that it's over, right?
All right. Well, one more to go. So.
Well, yeah, we'll find out next week, I guess.
We'll find out next week, and we'll be here to talk about it.
Okay. Now, next week, we also have Agatha. It starts tomorrow. I've seen an ad
what's it
for it
called?
on my
Agatha?
monitor. That's why.
Oh yeah, Agatha. That's right. Agatha's on this week.
What's
Yeah,
it
it
called?
comes-
It's called Agatha
comes up
again.
live.
Agatha after all.
No, Agatha all along.
Or oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, it's coming on. Starting, I don't think it's on until tomorrow night though. I don't think it's on till 9, but it's coming on tomorrow.
Disney
So
releases shit at weird times.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's coming. We can wait to talk about I guess Wynonna Earp Vengeance. Excuse me. I will just say I did like it a lot. It does seem like the regular show has a lot of great one-liners, they're going to call them. Yeah, it's good. I don't want to say too much if you're going to watch it because I don't
Yeah,
want to
I'll
spoil
watch it. I
but-
mean, I would say, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I think that Jamie, you are squarely the core audience they're going for, fan that wants to see more story.
Yeah. There's also Audible books coming out too, but they're going to be, which I think is nice, is that they're going to be like stories from in between, I guess. Like they're not like necessarily the future. They're just like, one-off stories. At least that's my understanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked seeing more. I would like seeing it continue in some fashion. Does it need to be a series? I mean, a couple specials would be okay. I don't know. It depends. But watch it and see what you think.
I'll watch it. I was just too busy.
Then come back and talk to me.
I was out of town.
No, I know. I just meant like see what you think after you see it. It's definitely left so they can bring it back. But whether that'll happen, I don't know. But I do know if people want it to be brought back, watch it as much as you can on Tubi because it all depends on those numbers. So, and my interview with Melanie
Is
and
it
Tim
just on Tubi?
is up as well on SciFiVision.com. Yes, it specifically was made for Tubi.
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know what the hell Tubi is or how to watch it. So
To be or not to be?
It's free. It's a free network. You can find it probably on any of your.
It's a free streaming site with a lot of. I can't even believe some of the shit that's on there. Like that's where I'm actually. Tubi. I know about Tubi because that's where I'm watching classic Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know classic Doctor Who. So it's got a lot of stuff, but not necessarily its own content, which I'm guessing it's moving towards considering this. But yeah, I mean, they were the ones that were willing to get it made, so
okay.
Thing. So yeah,
That's surprising because wasn't that a sci-fi property?
Sci-fi, yeah. Yeah, I think it was one Sci-Fi bought. I don't know that it was an original. I want to say Sci-Fi bought the rights, but don't quote me on that. But I think so.
All right, I'll watch it this week, and we'll cover it next week on our on this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course we will also have From next week to talk about. Finally.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yep. So everybody stay tuned for any, go to the I can't talk today.
Yeah.
When can I talk? Social media.
Fair.
One that actually says X instead of Twitter. Look at that. Go to, as always, the site or one of our social media channels to see updates. And like I said, if we have any other interviews coming up, they will be listed on there. Right now we have, Ricky Hay on October 1st, of course. And if you did see part of this podcast and want to go back and watch the interview with Elizabeth Moy, you can stream this off of our YouTube channel. As always, I don't know, you can probably start it now. I don't know if you have to wait till it's over. It isn't like the old podcast. You probably can rewind it now. But yeah, updates will be on there. Harold Perrineau interview, hopefully tomorrow, if all goes right. It should be. And and hopefully some more, stuff on the way. And also the other show I told you guys about still, I keep saying is coming, is Teacup, which I think you both will like. I think anybody who likes From will like Teacup a lot. That's all I'm gonna say, because you can't do reviews yet, so can't say anything other than you'll like it. I think that's permissible. I hope, but that's Peacock.
Well, they don't want you to say they don't want people to say they won't like it.
No, but I mean, I can give a review, but I'm just saying, I think that I could say I liked it. And then also there's a show coming out too, Hysteria, with Joey Bowen and Bruce Campbell. That's coming up sometime soon too.
Yeah, it's on Peacock.
I haven't watched it yet, so I haven't gotten a chance, so I don't know. And then tomorrow I have Twilight of the God. Here, wait, I don't know. I was trying to see who all's in it. But Twilight of the Gods, because I'm talking to Zack Snyder tomorrow, so for that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But that's for that animation. So that'll be posted soon as well. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. I hope we got new watchers today from the From group. Shout out to the From. I've been a member of the From groups before I started posting about the podcast, but I've been reading everybody's theories, and I told everybody about our show tonight. So hopefully some of them showed up, or we'll stream this after. And next week, please join us. Tell us your thoughts on the premiere too. We want to discuss it with some fans here. So let us know what you think. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Elizabeth Moy, for
Stick a
coming.
fork in us. We're done.
Yes. All right.
Bye.
Good night.